Have you ever stood at the edge of a moment where nothing made sense, where every door seemed closed and every answer felt silent? And yet, deep inside, something whispered, "Keep going, trust me." That whisper is not random. That whisper is not your imagination. That whisper is God asking you, will you trust me even when you don't understand me? Today, I'm not here to entertain you. I'm not here to impress you. I'm here to remind you that God is still working. Even when you don't see it, God is still guiding. Even when you feel lost, God is still preparing something greater. Even when everything seems to be falling apart. Because the truth is, we all love God when life is easy. But the real question is, can you trust God when life is uncertain? When the plan fails, when the people leave, when the path disappears, God is not asking for your comfort. God is asking for your trust. And today, you're going to discover why trusting God is the most powerful decision you will ever make. There comes a moment in every person's life when logic runs out, when plans stop working, when the path ahead looks like a blank page with no directions written on it. You've calculated, you've prepared, you've thought everything through, and still nothing makes sense. That is the moment where most people freeze. That is the moment where fear starts speaking louder than faith. And that is exactly the moment where trust begins. Because if you could understand everything, if every step was clear, if every outcome was guaranteed, you wouldn't need to trust God at all. Trust is not built in clarity. It is born in confusion. It rises when your mind says, this doesn't make sense. But your heart says, move anyway. Think about your daily life. Imagine you've been working hard for something, a job, an opportunity, a goal you've dreamed about for years. You give it your time, your energy, your sleepless nights. You visualize it. You believe it's yours. And then suddenly, it doesn't happen. The door closes. The call never comes. The opportunity disappears. In that moment, your mind starts asking questions. Why? What did I do wrong? What now? And the truth is, you may not get those answers right away. But here's the deeper reality. Just because you don't understand what's happening doesn't mean something meaningful isn't unfolding. Sometimes what feels like a setback is actually protection. Sometimes what looks like a loss is actually redirection. But you won't see it immediately. You'll only see it later, when you look back and realize that what didn't work out was never meant to. Trusting God in that moment means you choose not to collapse just because clarity is missing. It means you wake up the next day and still move forward, even with unanswered questions sitting in your chest. It means you keep showing up, keep trying, keep believing, even when your emotions are uncertain. Look at a simple everyday example. When you plant a seed in the ground, you don't dig it up the next day, demanding proof that it's growing. You water it, you protect it, you trust the process. For days, maybe even weeks, you see nothing. No sign, no evidence, no result. But underneath the surface, something powerful is happening. Roots are forming, strength is building, life is preparing to break through. Your life works the same way. Just because you don't see progress doesn't mean progress isn't happening. Just because you don't understand the delay doesn't mean there is no purpose in it. Trust is believing that even in the unseen, something is being prepared for you. And let's be honest, this isn't easy. Trusting when everything is clear, that's comfortable. Trusting when everything is uncertain, that takes strength. That takes courage. That takes a deep connection with God where you say, even though I don't get it, I still believe there is a plan greater than what I can see. Because understanding is limited. Your vision is limited. You see one chapter, but God sees the entire story. You focus on the immediate moment, but God is shaping your future. And sometimes what confuses you today will make perfect sense tomorrow. So instead of asking, why is this happening to me? Try asking, what is this preparing me for? Instead of saying, I don't understand, say, I trust that there is something bigger at work. That shift in mindset changes everything. It takes you from frustration to faith, from anxiety to peace. Trust begins the moment you stop needing every answer. It begins when you take a step forward without knowing exactly where it will lead. It begins when you accept that not everything is meant to be understood immediately. And that's okay, because the truth is, some of the greatest moments of your life will come from decisions you made when you didn't fully understand what you were doing. You just trusted, you just moved, you just believed. So when life feels unclear, when things don't add up, when the road disappears in front of you, don't stop. Don't give up just because you don't understand. That confusion you feel, that uncertainty, that is not the end of your story. That is the beginning of your trust. And trust is where everything starts to change. You wake up one morning and life already feels heavy. There are responsibilities waiting, expectations pulling at you, and questions you don't have answers to. You look at your situation and all you can see are limitations, what you don't have, what didn't work out, what seems to be going wrong. From your point of view, it feels like everything is shrinking, like doors are closing, like you're running out of options. But what if I told you you are not seeing the full picture? You are looking at your life through a small window, but God is seeing it from above. You see the moment, but God sees the meaning behind the moment. You see the struggle, but God sees the strength it's building inside you. You see delay, but God sees alignment. And this is where many people lose hope. Not because things are impossible, but because they are interpreting their situation from a limited perspective. Think about a simple everyday situation. Imagine you're stuck in traffic, already late, frustrated, watching the clock tick faster than your patience. From your point of view, it's a problem. It's wasted time. It's inconvenience. You don't understand why this is happening right now when you needed everything to go smoothly. But what you don't see is what could be happening beyond your view. Maybe that delay is protecting you from something ahead. Maybe it's redirecting you in a way you don't realize yet. Maybe it's teaching you patience in a moment where frustration could have taken over your attitude for the entire day. You see irritation. God sees intention. This is how life works more often than we realize. We judge situations too quickly. We label them as bad, unfair, or wrong because they don't match our expectations. But what if those moments are actually working in your favor in ways you can't yet understand? There are times when you lose something you thought you needed. A job, a relationship, an opportunity. It feels like everything is falling apart. You question your worth. You question your direction. You wonder if you failed. But step back for a second. What if that loss is actually creating space for something better? What if holding on to that situation would have limited your growth? What if what you thought was right for you was actually holding you back from something greater? You see rejection. God sees redirection. There's a powerful truth many people don't realize. Your perspective is shaped by what you can see right now, but God's vision is shaped by everything, past, present, and future. You are reacting to the moment, but God is orchestrating your journey. Think about a student preparing for an exam. They spend hours studying, practicing, struggling to understand difficult concepts. In the moment, it feels exhausting. It feels overwhelming. They might even question why it's so hard. But the teacher knows something the student doesn't fully grasp yet, that this process is necessary for growth, that the difficulty is not there to break them, but to build them. In the same way, your life's challenges are not random obstacles. They are part of a bigger design. You may not understand why certain things are happening, but that doesn't mean they are meaningless. Sometimes, what looks like chaos is actually coordination. Sometimes, what feels like a breakdown is actually a breakthrough in progress. And sometimes what you think is the end is just a transition into something new. But you won't always recognize it immediately. That's why trust becomes so important. Because if you rely only on what you can see, you will limit yourself to fear, doubt, and confusion. But if you believe that there is something greater at work beyond your vision, you start to walk differently. You begin to handle challenges with more patience. You begin to face uncertainty with more calm. You stop panicking over every setback because deep inside, this is not the whole story. Look at your own life. Think about a time when something didn't go the way you planned. At that moment, it probably felt disappointing, maybe even painful. But later, something better came out of it. A new opportunity, a new direction, a lesson that made you stronger. At that time, you couldn't see it. But now, looking back, it makes sense. That is the difference between your vision and God's vision. You understand things in hindsight, but God understands them in advance. So, when you're facing a situation that doesn't make sense, when you're struggling to understand why things are happening the way they are, remind yourself of this truth. Just because you don't see the purpose doesn't mean there is no purpose. You are not walking blindly. You are being guided even when you don't feel it. You are not stuck. You are being positioned. You are not lost. You are being led step by step, even through uncertainty. So lift your perspective. Stop judging your life only by what is visible in front of you. There is more happening than you can see. There is more being prepared than you can imagine. And when you start to believe that, when you truly accept that God sees what you cannot see, something inside you shifts. You stop fearing the unknown. You stop doubting every delay. And you start trusting that even in moments of confusion, your life is still moving exactly where it needs to go. There are moments in life when waiting feels heavier than working, when doing something feels easier than doing nothing, when every day that passes without an answer begins to test your patience, your confidence, even your belief. You start asking yourself, what's taking so long? Why hasn't it happened yet? Did I miss my chance? And slowly, without even realizing it, waiting starts to feel like losing. But here's the truth most people misunderstand. Just because something hasn't happened yet does not mean it's not going to happen. Delay is not denial. Waiting is not rejection. Time passing is not proof that your opportunity is gone. It may actually be proof that something is still being prepared. Think about your everyday life. Imagine ordering something important online, something you've been waiting for, something you need. You track the delivery, you check updates again and again. One day passes, then another, then another. It hasn't arrived yet. Does that mean it's not coming? No. It simply means it's still on the way. But in life, we don't treat our goals and dreams the same way. When things don't happen quickly, we assume the worst. We think, maybe it's not meant for me. We start doubting not just the situation, but ourselves. The problem is not the delay. The problem is how we interpret the delay. Because sometimes what feels like nothing happening is actually something very important happening behind the scenes. Imagine a builder constructing a strong building. Before anything visible appears, there is groundwork being done. Foundations are being laid deep beneath the surface. You don't see progress from the outside. It looks like nothing is happening. But that invisible work is what determines how strong the building will stand later. Your life works the same way. There are seasons where you won't see visible results. No big wins, no clear signs, no immediate success. And in those seasons, it's easy to feel stuck. It's easy to feel forgotten. But what if that season is actually your foundation being built? What if that delay is strengthening you, preparing you, aligning things in ways you can't yet understand? Think about a time when you got something too early, before you were fully ready for it. Maybe it was a responsibility, an opportunity, or even a relationship. At first, it felt exciting, but later, you realized you weren't prepared. It became overwhelming, stressful, difficult to manage. Now imagine if that same thing came into your life later, when you were more experienced, more mature, more capable. The outcome would be completely different. That's the power of timing. Sometimes the delay is not about the opportunity. It's about you becoming ready for the opportunity. Because what's coming into your life may require a stronger version of you, a wiser version, a more patient version. And that version of you is not built overnight. So instead of asking, why is this taking so long? Ask yourself, what is this time preparing me for? There's also something else to understand. Timing is not just about you. It's about everything connected to your journey. The right people, the right circumstances, the right moment. All of it has to come together. You might be ready, but the situation isn't. You might be prepared, but the opportunity is still forming. And if things came together too soon, it wouldn't work the way it's meant to. Think about cooking a meal. Even if you have all the ingredients, you can't rush the process. If you take it off the heat too early, it's not ready. If you skip steps, the result won't be right. Good things require time, not because time is wasting, but because time is working. In the same way, your delay is not empty. It is active. It is shaping, aligning, building. But the hardest part is staying patient while you can't see any of that. That's where trust comes in. Trust is what keeps you moving forward when there is no visible progress. It's what helps you stay focused when others are moving ahead faster. It's what keeps your mind steady when doubt tries to take over. Because if you don't understand the purpose of delay, you will start comparing your life to others. You'll look at someone else's success and think, why not me? You'll feel like you're behind, like you've missed something, but you're not behind. You're on a different timeline. And your timeline is not wrong. It's just different. Some things happen quickly. Others take time. But the ones that take time often last longer, grow stronger, and have deeper impact. So don't rush your process. Don't give up just because it's taking longer than you expected. Don't let waiting convince you that nothing is happening. Something is happening, even now, even in silence, even in stillness. Every day you're learning, growing, becoming more prepared, even if you don't feel it. And one day, what you've been waiting for will arrive. And when it does, you'll realize that it didn't come late. It came right on time. So hold on to your patience. Hold on to your belief. Let the delay do its work without letting it break your spirit. Because delay is not denial. It's preparation. It's alignment. It's the quiet process of something meaningful getting ready to enter your life at the exact moment it's meant to. There are moments in life when everything feels like it's working against you. You try, and it doesn't work. You push forward, and something pushes back harder. You give your best, and still, the results don't match your effort. In those moments, it's easy to feel defeated. It's easy to think, why is this happening to me? It's easy to believe that these struggles are signs that you should stop. But what if the struggle is not there to stop you? What if it's there to shape you? Because the truth is, growth rarely feels comfortable. Progress rarely feels easy. The strongest version of you is not created in moments of ease. It is built in moments of pressure. Think about your daily life. Imagine going to the gym for the first time. You pick up a weight and it feels heavy. Your muscles ache. Your body resists. Every part of you wants to stop. In that moment, it feels like pain is a bad thing. It feels like something is wrong. But in reality, that discomfort is a sign that something is working. Your muscles are being stretched, challenged, and broken down, only to rebuild stronger than before. Now imagine if you avoided that discomfort every time. If you put the weights down the moment it got hard, would you ever grow stronger? Would you ever improve? No. You would stay exactly where you are. Life works the same way. The challenges you face, the difficulties you go through, the moments that test your patience and strength, they are not there to destroy you. They are there to develop you. But most people misunderstand this process. They see struggle as a signal to quit instead of a signal to grow. Think about a student preparing for an important exam. Late nights, pressure, confusion, frustration. It's not easy. There are moments when they feel like giving up, when they question if it's worth it. But all that effort, all that struggle is shaping their discipline, their focus, their resilience. Without that struggle, there would be no progress. And in your life, every challenge you face is doing something similar. It's building qualities inside you that you cannot gain any other way. Patience is built when things take longer than expected. Strength is built when you feel weak but keep going. Wisdom is built when you learn from mistakes. Confidence is built when you overcome what once felt impossible. These things don't come from comfort. They come from struggle. Look at your own experiences. Think about a time when you went through something difficult. At that moment, it probably felt overwhelming. You probably wished it would just end. But now, looking back, you realize something. You came out stronger, you learned something, you grew, you became more capable. That's because struggle changes you. It stretches your limits. It forces you to adapt. It pushes you to become more than you were before. And sometimes the struggle is preparing you for something you've been asking for. You want success, but success requires discipline. You want growth, but growth requires change. You want a better life, but a better life requires a stronger you. And that stronger version of you is built through challenges. Imagine being given everything you ever wanted without any effort, without any struggle. It might feel good at first, but over time, you would lack the strength to handle it. You would lack the experience to sustain it, because it's not just about receiving. It's about becoming ready to handle what you receive. That's why struggle is necessary. It prepares you for what's ahead. There's also something powerful about struggle. It reveals who you really are. When everything is easy, anyone can feel confident. Anyone can stay positive. Anyone can keep going. But when things get hard, when pressure increases, when nothing seems to be working, that's when your true strength is tested. That's when you discover your resilience. That's when you discover your determination. That's when you discover how far you're willing to go. And every time you choose to keep going despite the difficulty, you are reinforcing something inside yourself. You are proving that you are stronger than your circumstances. But here's the key. You have to change how you see your struggles. Instead of seeing them as obstacles, start seeing them as opportunities. Instead of asking, why is this happening to me? Ask, what is this teaching me? Instead of feeling defeated, remind yourself, this is making me stronger. Because your mindset determines how you experience your challenges. If you see struggle as something negative, it will drain you. But if you see it as something meaningful, it will empower you. There will be days when it feels too much. Days when you feel tired, frustrated, maybe even ready to give up. And that's okay. You're human. But don't let those moments define your direction. Keep moving, even if it's one small step at a time. Because every step you take through difficulty is shaping your future. Every challenge you face is preparing you for something greater. And one day, you will look back at the struggles you once hated, and you will realize something powerful. Those struggles didn't break you. They built you. They turned you into someone stronger, wiser, and more capable than you ever thought you could be. So don't run from your struggles. Don't fear them. Don't let them convince you that you're not enough. Because everything you're going through right now is shaping you into everything you need to become. And that process, no matter how hard it feels, is leading you exactly where you're meant to be. There is something inside every human being that wants control. We want to know what's coming next. We want to plan every step, predict every outcome, avoid every risk. We hold tightly to our expectations, our timelines, our ideas of how life should go. And when things don't follow that plan, we feel uncomfortable, anxious, sometimes even afraid. But here's the truth that many people struggle to accept. The more tightly you try to control everything, the more pressure you create within yourself. Because life doesn't always follow your script. There will be moments when things don't go your way. Moments when plans fail. Moments when people disappoint you. Moments when the future feels uncertain. And in those moments, your instinct is to hold on even tighter, to try harder, force outcomes, overthink every possibility. But what if the real peace you're looking for is not in controlling everything, but in learning to let go? Letting go doesn't mean giving up. It doesn't mean you stop trying or stop caring. It means you release the need to control every detail. It means you do your part, but you stop trying to control what is beyond your power. Think about something simple in your daily life. Imagine you're trying to fall asleep at night. The more you try to force sleep, the more awake you become. Your mind starts racing, your body feels restless, you keep checking the time, getting more frustrated. But the moment you relax, The moment you stop forcing it, sleep comes naturally. Life works in a similar way. Sometimes the more you force things, the more resistance you create. The more you overthink, the more confused you become. The more you try to control every outcome, the more stressed you feel. Now think about a situation where you're waiting for a response. Maybe a job application, a message, an opportunity. You've done everything you can. You've prepared, applied, followed up. But now the result is out of your hands, yet your mind keeps going back to it. What if it doesn't work? What if I'm not chosen? What if this fails? You replay scenarios again and again, trying to control something you no longer can. And what does that do? It drains your energy. It steals your peace. It keeps you stuck in a cycle of worry. But the moment you say, I've done my part, now I trust the outcome, something shifts inside you. You feel lighter. You feel calmer. You feel free because you are no longer carrying what was never yours to carry. That is the power of letting go. It's understanding the difference between effort and control. Your responsibility is to take action, to give your best, to move forward with sincerity. But the outcome, that is not fully in your hands. And when you try to control what is not yours, you create unnecessary stress. Letting go is not weakness. It is strength. It takes courage to release control. It takes confidence to trust that even if things don't go the way you planned, they will still work out in a way that is right for you. Think about holding sand in your hand. If you grip it tightly, trying to control every grain, it slips through your fingers faster. But if you hold it gently, it stays. That's how life is. The tighter you try to control everything, the more things slip away. But when you learn to hold things with openness, with trust, with acceptance, you create space for things to flow naturally. There are also moments when letting go means releasing people, situations, or expectations that are no longer right for you. Sometimes we hold on to things not because they are good for us, but because we are afraid of the unknown. We stay in situations that drain us because they feel familiar. We hold on to expectations that no longer align with our reality because we don't want to accept change. But holding on to what no longer serves you only prevents you from moving forward. Letting go creates space. Space for new opportunities, space for growth, space for peace. And yes, it's not always easy. There will be moments when letting go feels uncomfortable, moments when uncertainty feels scary. But holding on to control doesn't eliminate uncertainty. It only hides it under stress. True peace comes when you accept that not everything needs to be controlled to be okay. You begin to trust more. You begin to flow with life instead of fighting it. You begin to understand that even when things don't go your way, there is still a path forward. Because sometimes what you are trying so hard to control is actually not meant for you. And letting go is what allows something better to come into your life. So take a deep look at what you're holding on to right now. Is it giving you peace or taking it away? Is it helping you grow or keeping you stuck? And ask yourself honestly, what would happen if you just let go? Not of your effort, not of your purpose, but of your need to control every outcome. Because when you let go of control, you make room for trust. And when trust takes over, fear begins to lose its power. You start to move with confidence. Not because you know exactly what will happen, but because you believe that whatever happens, you will be able to handle it. So loosen your grip, release the pressure, do your part, and then trust. Because sometimes the greatest step forward in your life doesn't come from holding on tighter. It comes from finally having the strength to let go. There are seasons in life when everything feels quiet, too quiet, no clear signs. No obvious progress, no loud breakthroughs, just silence. And in that silence, your mind begins to wander. You start questioning things. Is anything happening? Am I moving forward at all? Has everything just stopped? Silence can feel uncomfortable because we are used to noise. We're used to constant updates, constant movement, constant reassurance. We want to see results. We want to hear confirmation. We want something that tells us we're on the right path. But what if the silence is not emptiness, What if the silence is actually where the most important work is happening? Think about your daily life. Imagine a phone charging. When you plug it in, you don't hear loud sounds or see dramatic changes. It doesn't announce, "I'm charging," every second. It just sits there, quietly, steadily, gaining power. If you judged it only by what you hear or see in that moment, you might think nothing is happening. But give it time, and when you pick it up again, it's fully charged, ready, strong, and capable. That's how your life works in silent seasons. Just because things are quiet doesn't mean things are stagnant. Just because you don't see immediate results doesn't mean progress has stopped. There are moments when growth is happening internally, invisibly, deeply, and those are often the most important moments of all. Think about how a seed grows. When you place it into the soil, everything becomes silent. You don't hear anything. You don't see anything. Days pass, maybe weeks, and it looks like nothing is changing. If you judge the process from the outside, you might think it's not working. But beneath the surface, something incredible is happening. Roots are forming. Strength is developing. Life is pushing through resistance, preparing for the right moment to rise. And when it finally breaks through the surface, it looks sudden. But in reality, it was a long, silent process. Your life has these same hidden seasons. There are times when you are learning lessons you don't yet realize. Times when your mindset is shifting. Times when your strength is increasing quietly without recognition. Times when things are being aligned in ways you cannot see, but because it's not loud, because it's not visible, you start to doubt it. You start to think, maybe nothing is happening. And that's where many people lose hope. Not because they are not progressing, but because they cannot see their progress. Look at a simple example. Imagine you are working on improving yourself, your habits, your discipline, your mindset. You wake up early. You try to stay consistent. You make small changes every day. At first, nothing feels different. You don't suddenly become a new person overnight. There's no big moment where everything shifts instantly. It feels slow, quiet, almost invisible. But over time, something changes. You become more focused, more confident, more in control. And one day you look back and realize you are not the same person you were before. That transformation didn't happen in noise. It happened in silence. Silence is where preparation takes place. Silence is where strength is built. Silence is where clarity slowly forms. But here's the challenge. Silence requires patience. It requires trust. Because without visible signs, it's easy to feel uncertain. You might feel like others are moving ahead while you are standing still. You might feel like you're being left behind. You might even feel forgotten. But silence is not a sign of absence. It's a sign of depth. Not everything valuable happens in a way that is loud and obvious. Some of the most meaningful changes in your life will happen quietly, gradually, without attention. There's also something powerful about silence. It removes distractions. When everything is loud, it's easy to get caught up in comparison, in pressure, in external expectations. But in silence, you are forced to focus inward. You start to understand yourself better. You start to recognize what truly matters. You begin to grow in ways that are not influenced by noise, but guided by purpose. And that kind of growth lasts. So if you're in a season where things feel quiet, where nothing seems to be happening, where progress feels invisible, don't mistake that silence for failure. Don't assume that just because you don't see results, there are no results. Something is happening, even now. Even in this moment, you are being prepared, you're being shaped, you're being strengthened in ways that will reveal themselves at the right time. And when that time comes, it will seem sudden. It will seem like everything changed overnight. But you will know the truth. It wasn't overnight. It was built in silence. So don't rush the quiet seasons. Don't try to escape them. Don't let them make you doubt your path. Instead, embrace them. Because silence is not empty. It is full of unseen progress. It is full of quiet transformation. It is full of preparation for something greater. And if you can learn to trust what is happening in the silence, you will never feel lost in it again. You will stand firm even without visible proof, knowing that just because it's quiet doesn't mean nothing is happening. It means something powerful is taking place beyond what your eyes can see. Every single day, whether you realize it or not, there is a quiet battle happening inside you. A battle between two voices. One voice whispers doubt, hesitation, and fear. It asks, what if you fail? What if things go wrong? What if you're not good enough? And the other voice, calmer, quieter but stronger, says, keep going. Try again. You are capable of more than you think. The question is not whether these voices exist. The question is, which one are you feeding? Because your life will always move in the direction of the voice you choose to believe. Fear is powerful. It feels real. It feels convincing. It shows you worst case scenarios, paints pictures of failure, and makes you imagine outcomes that haven't even happened yet. And because those thoughts feel so vivid, so immediate, they begin to control your actions. You hesitate, you delay, you hold back. You stay where it feels safe, even if that safe place is limiting your growth. Think about a simple, everyday situation. Imagine you're given an opportunity to speak in front of people, share your ideas, express your thoughts. Immediately, fear steps in. What if I mess up? What if people judge me? What if I forget what to say? And because of those thoughts, you might say no. You might step back. You might let the opportunity pass. But what just happened? Nothing actually went wrong. There was no failure. There was no embarrassment. Yet fear still stopped you. That's the thing about fear. It doesn't need real evidence. It only needs your attention. Now imagine the same situation, but this time you choose differently. You still feel fear. It doesn't disappear, but you don't let it control you. Instead, you tell yourself, what if this goes right? What if this is my chance to grow? What if I surprise myself? And you step forward. Your voice might shake at first. Your hands might feel nervous, but you do it anyway. And after it's done, you realize something powerful. You were capable all along. That's what happens when your trust becomes bigger than your fear. It doesn't mean fear disappears. It means fear loses its control over your decisions. Because fear will always try to protect you from discomfort, but it also keeps you away from growth. Every opportunity, every step forward, every new level in your life will come with uncertainty. And if you wait for fear to disappear before you act, you will wait forever. But if you learn to move despite fear, everything begins to change. Think about learning how to ride a bicycle. The first time you try, you're scared. You're afraid of falling. You imagine getting hurt. Your balance feels uncertain. Every part of you wants to avoid that risk. But if you never try, you never learn. So you get on the bike, you wobble, you fall. Maybe more than once. But each time you get back up, something changes. You gain a little more confidence, a little more balance, a little more belief in yourself. And eventually, what once felt impossible becomes natural. That's the journey from fear to trust. Fear says, don't fall. Trust says, even if you fall, you'll get back up. Fear focuses on what could go wrong. Trust focuses on what could go right. Fear keeps you in place. Trust moves you forward. Now look at your life. How many things have you held back from because of fear? How many chances have you missed because you doubted yourself? How many times have you chosen comfort over growth? And ask yourself honestly, has fear ever truly helped you grow? It might have kept you safe, but it also kept you small, because everything meaningful in life requires you to step beyond what feels comfortable. It requires you to take risks, face uncertainty, and trust that you will figure things out along the way. There will be moments when you feel unprepared, moments when you feel unsure, moments when fear feels louder than your confidence. But those are exactly the moments that define your direction, because every time you choose trust over fear, you are rewriting your story. You are telling yourself, I am stronger than my doubts. You are proving that your potential is greater than your hesitation. And with each step, fear becomes weaker. Not because it's gone, but because you've stopped giving it power. There's also something important to understand. Fear often shows up when something matters. when you're about to grow, when you're about to step into something bigger. Fear doesn't mean stop. Sometimes it actually means this is important. So instead of running from fear, learn to recognize it. Feel it, but don't follow it. Acknowledge it, but don't let it decide for you. Because your future is not built by avoiding fear. It is built by moving forward with trust. Trust that you can handle challenges. Trust that you can learn from mistakes. Trust that even if things don't go perfectly, you will grow through the experience. And most importantly, trust that you are not alone in your journey. So the next time fear shows up, and it will, don't let it stop you. Pause for a moment, take a breath, and ask yourself one simple question. What would I do right now if I trusted more than I feared? And then do that. Because on the other side of fear is growth. On the other side of doubt is confidence. On the other side of hesitation is opportunity. And everything you've been hoping for begins the moment your trust becomes bigger than your fear. There is something powerful that begins to shift inside you the moment you truly start trusting God. Not just in words, not just in moments of ease, but deeply, completely, even when life feels uncertain. It's not always loud, it's not always dramatic, but it is real. And over time, it changes everything about the way you live. Because trust is not just a feeling, it's a way of being. It's something that reflects in your thoughts, your actions, your reactions, your attitude toward life. When you truly trust, you don't just say it, you live it. Think about how people usually react when things go wrong. A small problem appears, and immediately stress takes over. The mind starts racing. What if this gets worse? What will I do now? Why is this happening? One situation turns into a chain of worries, and before they know it, their peace is gone. But when trust is present, the reaction changes. The situation may be the same, but the response is different. Instead of panic, there is patience. Instead of fear, there is calm. Instead of overthinking, there is quiet confidence. It doesn't mean you don't care. It doesn't mean you don't feel pressure. It means you don't let those feelings control you anymore. Look at a simple example from daily life. Imagine you're facing a financial difficulty, bills to pay, responsibilities to handle, and the numbers don't seem to match. It's a real problem, and it requires real effort. But how you respond to it makes all the difference. Without trust, the mind goes into panic mode. Stress builds up. Sleep becomes difficult. Every thought becomes heavy. You might even start making rushed decisions out of fear, which only make things worse. But with trust, something changes inside you. You still recognize the problem, but you don't lose yourself in it. You start thinking clearly. You focus on solutions instead of fears. You take steps one at a time without overwhelming yourself. Why? Because deep down you believe that this situation is not the end of your story. You believe that there is a way forward, even if you don't fully see it yet. That belief transforms your mindset. And when your mindset changes, your actions change. And when your actions change, your life begins to change. Trust gives you stability in unstable moments. It keeps you grounded when everything around you feels uncertain. It becomes your anchor when life tries to shake you. And over time, it shapes your character. You become more patient. Not because life is easier, but because you are stronger. You become more positive. Not because there are no problems, but because you see beyond them. You become more resilient. Not because you never struggle, but because you don't break under pressure. People start noticing something different about you. They may not understand it fully, but they can see it. The way you handle situations, the way you stay calm, the way you don't react impulsively. It's not that your life is perfect. It's that your trust is powerful. There's also a freedom that comes with trust. When you truly trust God, you stop carrying unnecessary burdens. You stop trying to control everything. You stop worrying about every possible outcome. You start living with a sense of ease. Not laziness, but peace. You still work hard. You still make efforts. You still pursue your goals. But you are no longer weighed down by constant anxiety because you understand something important. You are responsible for your actions, but not for controlling everything. And that understanding brings relief. It allows you to focus on what you can do instead of stressing about what you cannot control. Think about how different your day would feel if you carried less worry. If you trusted that things will work out, even if not immediately. If you stop replaying negative thoughts again and again, you would walk differently. You would speak differently. You would think differently. That is the transformation trust brings. It doesn't remove challenges from your life, but it changes how you experience them. Instead of seeing every difficulty as a threat, you start seeing it as something you can handle. Instead of feeling overwhelmed by uncertainty, you start embracing it with confidence. Instead of being controlled by circumstances, you start rising above them. And the most powerful part is this: you begin to inspire others without even trying. When people see someone who remains calm in chaos, strong in difficulty, hopeful in uncertainty, it leaves an impact. It makes them think. It makes them wonder, how are they like this? And the answer is simple. Trust, because trust is contagious. Your strength can become someone else's motivation. Your calmness can become someone else's hope. And it all starts from within, from a decision to stop living in constant fear, a decision to stop doubting every step, a decision to believe that no matter what happens, you will be guided, supported, and carried through it. That decision changes everything. So don't underestimate the power of trust. It's not just about believing something. It's about becoming someone stronger, someone calmer, someone more grounded, someone who doesn't fall apart when life gets hard, but stands firm knowing that there is always a way forward. And when you reach that place, you will realize something beautiful. Your life didn't just change on the outside. You changed on the inside. And that inner transformation is what makes everything else possible. There comes a point in life when you realize that not everything is meant to stay. Not every plan works out. Not every person remains. Not every opportunity turns into success. And at first, that realization can feel painful. It can feel like something is being taken away from you. Like life is being unfair. Like you are losing more than you are gaining. But what if what you're losing is not meant to harm you? What if it's meant to free you? Because sometimes the greatest growth in your life doesn't come from what you gain. It comes from what you release. Think about your daily life. Imagine holding a heavy bag in your hands. At first it feels manageable, but as time passes it becomes heavier. Your arms start to ache, your energy drains, you get tired, but you keep holding on because you think you have to. Now imagine someone telling you, you can put it down. At first, you hesitate. You've been holding it for so long. It feels strange to let go. You might even think, what if I need this? But the moment you finally release it, you feel relief. You feel light. You realize that what you were carrying was not helping you. It was exhausting you. That's how life works with the things we hold on to. We hold on to past mistakes, replaying them again and again in our minds. We hold on to relationships that drain us, thinking things might change someday. We hold on to expectations that no longer match our reality. And all of this creates a weight inside us that slowly takes away our peace. But letting go is not losing. It is making space. Space for growth. Space for peace. Space for something better to enter your life. There are moments when you try your best, you give your effort, your time, your energy, and still, things don't work out. You might feel rejected. You might feel disappointed. You might feel like you failed. But not everything that leaves your life is a loss. Sometimes it is a necessary transition. Think about a job you didn't get, a path that didn't open, or a situation that didn't go your way. At that moment, it feels like a closed door. But later, something else appears, something that fits you better, something that aligns more with who you are becoming. And you realize something important. If that first door had opened, you would have never reached this one. That's why letting go requires trust. Because when you release something, you are stepping into uncertainty. You don't always know what will come next. And that can feel uncomfortable. But holding on to something that is no longer right for you only keeps you stuck in a place you've outgrown. Letting go is not about giving up. It's about moving forward. It's about recognizing that your journey is evolving, and not everything from your past is meant to come with you into your future. There's also something powerful about letting go. It teaches you strength. It takes strength to walk away from something that feels familiar. It takes strength to accept that something has ended. It takes strength to trust that even without what you had before, you will be okay. And that strength builds confidence inside you, because you begin to realize that your stability does not come from external things. It comes from within you. Think about a tree in autumn. Its leaves begin to fall. From the outside, it might look like the tree is losing something, like it's becoming empty. But in reality, it's preparing for a new season. Those leaves had their time. They served their purpose. And now, letting them go allows the tree to renew itself. Your life has seasons too. There are things that belong to a certain phase of your life, but not to the next one. And if you hold on to them too tightly, you prevent yourself from growing into what you are meant to become. Letting go also brings clarity. When you release what no longer serves you, you start to see things more clearly. Your mind becomes lighter. Your focus improves. Your energy is no longer divided between what is and what was. You begin to live in the present instead of being stuck in the past. And that shift opens new possibilities, because sometimes the reason you don't see new opportunities is not because they aren't there. It's because your hands are too full holding on to the old ones. So ask yourself honestly, what are you holding on to right now? Is it helping you grow or keeping you stuck? Is it bringing you peace or taking it away? And if deep down you know it's time to let go, then trust that feeling. Trust that releasing it is not the end. It's the beginning of something new. It may not be easy. It may take time. But every step you take toward letting go brings you closer to freedom, closer to clarity, closer to becoming the person you are meant to be, because your life is not meant to be lived carrying unnecessary weight. It is meant to be lived with purpose, with peace, with forward movement. And sometimes the most powerful step you can take is not adding more. It is finally having the courage to release what is no longer meant for you. Because when you let go, you don't lose what's meant for you. You make room for it.